Hello, welcome to Quays News. I'm Max Hayes.
And I'm Darcy Jackson. Here's what's coming up on the programme today. Another budget, more cuts to national insurance as Jeremy Hunt announces his latest spring budget. But is an election around the corner? We'll have all the budget details.
We can now help families not just with temporary cost of living support, but with permanent cuts in taxation.
And I'm here at Trafford Park to tell you more later on the chemical leak that happened here.
And Manchester is seeing more developments and reconstruction, this time a multi-million-pound improvement into an iconic nightlife spot.
Thanks for your company this afternoon. Do stay with us. First, we begin with our top story. A chemical leak at Trafford Park has left somebody in hospital.
Yeah, we cross live now to Mick Match Koviak, who is there for us. Mick, good afternoon. What more can you tell us?
Okay, thank you, Max. So on Monday, emergency services were here at the Trafford Park after a chemical leak happened at the Lennox factory. It happened during the unloading of a tanker, and the whole site was evacuated shortly after for everyone's safety.
Now, Mick, was there any danger to the public at all?
Yeah, so it's actually quite a very dangerous situation as the chemical that leaked was phosphorus oxychloride, which is very harmful if inhaled or if it comes into contact with your skin. And over a dozen people at the site were assessed by the paramedics. However, only one needed to go to the hospital to get further treatment.
Mick, what is the situation like now then currently?
Yeah, so the leak has been controlled shortly after, and the Health and Safety Executive has released a statement saying we are well aware of the incident and have made further inquiries with the site operator. However, if anyone in the area is experiencing any symptoms from breathlessness, wheezing or bluing of your lips and fingers, do contact the NHS helpline 111 immediately.
Thanks, Mick, there at Trafford Park. Next, as a general election looms, national insurance has been cut again. Yesterday saw Chancellor Jeremy Hunt announce all the details in the last spring budget before the next general election.
Yeah, the Chancellor cut national insurance by 2p, as well as increases to child benefit salary thresholds, a new vaping levy and non-dom tax status being abolished. Our financial expert Daniel Mercer brings you all the details.
It's another massive day in Westminster as the Chancellor Jeremy Hunt gives his spring budget towards the House of Commons. And as he was called up,
Mr Chancellor of the Exchequer,
all the country could do was watch.
We can now help families not just with temporary cost of living support, but with permanent cuts in taxation. We do this to give much needed help in challenging times.
The main points from the budget were that national insurance will be cut by 2p from April. The repayment period on loans has been increased from 12 months to 24 months. The household support funds will continue for another 6 months, and that child benefits thresholds have been raised from 50,000 to 60,000 a year. Other things include a tax relief for creative industries, museum galleries and alcohol duties freeze will continue until 2025. 230 million will be spent on police response times and 3.4 billion will be invested into the outdated NHS IT systems. The response on social media was showing great disappointment in the Chancellor's budget, with the main summary being to call a general election. And Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer had his piece to say.
A Conservative Party stubbornly clinging to the failed ideas of the past, completely unable to generate the growth working people need, and forced by that failure to ask them to pay more and more for less.
So as the budget kicks in, only time will tell to see if these changes will help the British public. Daniel Mercer, Quays News.
Now, Max, you know I love my music, right?
Yeah, you might do, Darcy, but not as much as I love Take That. And right here in Manchester, we all know how iconic the music scene is. And BBC Six Music Festival is set to return to the city.
Acts such as Brit nominees Young Fathers and CMAT will play at some of the city's iconic venues. Bella Francis went to take a look.
Are you the best?
I'm stood outside the O2 Victoria warehouse here in Trafford with this year's BBC Radio 6 Music Festival will be kicking off later tonight. The event, which has been running since 2014, has been hosted all over the country, but it was announced earlier this year that Greater Manchester would be becoming the permanent hosts. Tonight's events kick off at 6:30 p.m. with sets from Hack Baker, Shirelle and Young Fathers, just to name a few. Now, it does look like there's not too much going on here at the moment, but we have been seeing loads of staff members coming in and out all day, and there's a really nice buzz about the place. Although I must say, they do all seem rather calm, which hopefully is a good thing for the festival goers and means that they will be getting a very smoothly ran show. Now, the 4-day festival will be taking place at different venues all over the city and will be wrapped up by Sunday night.
Thanks, Bella. Well, next this afternoon, to some more stories making the news. A man is beginning a life sentence for killing a dog owner and then stealing his pet Labradoodle. Donald Prentice Patience, aged 45, was found dead wrapped in a duvet at his home in Radcliffe, Greater Manchester. Connell from Bolton has been sentenced to life with a minimum of 19 years.
Refugees will be housed in a Greater Manchester retail complex. 9 apartments will be created in the Grafton Centre in Altrincham to house refugees from Afghanistan and Ukraine.
One of Brianna Jai's murderers has made an appeal to his sentence. Eddie Ratcliffe, who was detained for life with a minimum of 20 years for killing 16-year-old Brianna, who was transgender. Ratcliffe, who is just 16 years old, has applied for permission to his appeal.
Now, latest statistics show breast cancer affecting 1 in 7 women, and more open conversations are happening every day about how people are dealing with cancer.
Yeah, one group based in Gorton has a different approach to the traditional routes of recovery for cancer patients. We sent our very own Josh Can to Debdale Reservoir to find out more.
Since the announcement that King Charles has been receiving treatment for cancer, a discussion has opened up about the challenging journey many people endure when first receiving the news.
Many choose to join group therapy or support groups to deal with this news. But tucked away here in Manchester, a very different approach has been adopted. Within the beautiful surroundings of Dubdale Reservoir lies the Manchester Dragoneers.
After my diagnosis in 2006, I finished treatment 2007, and I was looking for a support group to help me after my treatment. The traditional support groups just seem to have you sat round in a circle and talk about your cancer. And I came across dragon boating through a breast cancer care website, and I thought, yeah, that sounds a little bit more like me. We're getting exercise on a weekly basis, and it's an exercise that's been proven to be very good following breast cancer. The upper body movement helps reduce a secondary condition called lymphedema.
Well, at the moment we're doing lots of training. We're going to go and meet with another club in Donegal in August and have a regatta with those. We also meet up with other clubs in this country, in Windermere and Liverpool. We go and join in with those. But the big one that we're training for is 2026, when we're going to go to France. And it's part of a big international committee, and clubs from all over the world come together and we compete. It's a 4-yearly event, and we've been all over the world doing that. There's going to be over 200 teams, all who've had breast cancer, and it's going to be a fantastic event.
I felt quite raw after having breast cancer, and you feel a bit like you're never going to be back to how you were before, and in a sense you're not, because you're a different person than you were before. But the camaraderie and the support of people who've also had breast cancer, it's just knowing that people understand what you've been going through and they can help you with symptoms and things that other people might not know about. You're going through the journey together, and we are literally all in the same boat.
Lovely story there, Josh, for such an important cause. Now, Darcy, I cannot believe I'll be missing the Premier League on Sunday for Mother's Day instead. Unbelievable.
Well, do you know what? I'm so glad the F1 is on Saturday this weekend, to be honest. So talking of this weekend, let's hear from our sports correspondent Elliot Royce, who has all the lowdown on the sporting action.
Yes, guys, so I'm here at the Etihad Stadium, where last night Manchester City cruised past FC Copenhagen to a 3-1 victory on the night and a 6-2 win on aggregate in the Champions League round of 16, sending them through to the quarter-finals. First half goals for Julian Alvarez, Erling Haaland and Manuel Akanji secured a comfortable victory for City, and they'll find out their quarter-final opponents next Sunday. Final game. But before then, they travel to Anfield this Sunday for the final clash between era-defining Premier League greats as managers Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp. And unfortunately, some sad news coming from Rome ahead of Brighton and Hove Albion's clash with Roma this afternoon, as reportedly 2 Brighton and Hove Albion fans have been mugged and stabbed in the city by masked ultras. Further controversy surrounding the future of Red Bull Racing team boss Christian Horner. Horner's allegations of controlling and abusive behaviour were dropped last week, but world champion Max Verstappen has come out and said, "My father is not a liar," after the 3-time world champion's father Jos came out at Bahrain last week saying that Horner's allegations were not good for the team. Despite this, Red Bull managed to pick up a 1-2 in Bahrain and look strong favourites for Saturday's race at the Jeddah Corniche circuit. In Rugby League, Salford Red Devils have received an emergency payment of £315,000 from Salford City Council. Now, although the council have recently acquired the AJ Bell Stadium, the extra funding comes with a bit of controversy and a bit of outrage on social media platform X, with one user saying, "Another 350k, what do they do with it? Do we need a rugby club that is an anchor around the taxpayer?" And finally, in women's football, the defending European champions, England, have found their group for the European qualifiers for 2025. They will face France, the Republic of Ireland, and Sweden in their group, the latter of whom the Lionesses thumped 4-0 en route to the European trophy back in 2022. I, for one, cannot wait to see how the Lionesses fare defending their title. In the meantime, of course, the men travel to Germany in the summer, hoping to get their first major trophy since 1966.
Yeah, thanks for that, Elliot. I suppose it's no surprise that Max Verstappen has gone top of FP1 in Jeddah. What have we got to look forward to with the football on Sunday?
Lots of football happening in Darcy. The big game that everyone's talking about, Liverpool City.
Absolutely.
In front of the TV cameras. Big atmosphere. Yeah. Such a big game for the title race as well.
Yeah.
But the one game that everyone isn't talking about, that is more important, Forest Brighton. Forest need a win, given a possible points deduction. But I'll be spending it on Mother's Day, so I'm not actually going to be able to go to the game. So it'll be a job of watching it on the iPhone in a restaurant, hopefully.
So. Oh, we've all been there, haven't we? We've all been there.
Yes, we have. Right, it's an iconic place, Manchester, for its nightlife, and it's about to reopen to the public.
Yeah, Manchester's Printworks has undergone a multi-million-pound improvement, which will include Europe's largest digital ceiling. Tabitha Crowther went to take a look.
An iconic Mancunian nightlife spot for generations is about to reopen following a multi-million-pound refurbishment. Opening in 2000, Printworks has been a popular spot for generations of Mancunians, with it still drawing in many people a quarter of a century on. Manchester's Printwork has undergone a £27 million improvement project, with £21 million of that being spent on transforming it into the first digital entertainment venue. That involves installing the largest digital ceiling in Europe, transforming at a massive 1,000 square metre. Alongside the video ceiling, there will be a giant interactive e-gaming screen and spectacular lighting and sound effects after the investment. The remaining £6 million will be spent on the View Cinema inside the Printworks, allowing them with 20 new screens.
Very nice, especially that gaming screen.
Yeah,
Darcy,
for sure.
you off to Printworks maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love a bit of Printworks, so yeah, I can't wait to go and have a look.
Yeah, it should be good.
Yeah, right, so that's all we've got time for this afternoon.
Yes, we'll see you next week with another Quays News. Goodbye.